at the end for just kind of general questions. So we'll get started with who am I? Why should you care? So I've officially been cosplaying, like going to conventions and cosplaying since about 2013, but I've been creating costumes for a lot longer than that. Since I was a kid, I loved dressing up. I was a theater major in college. I just got to this point where I realized I didn't want to buy the Halloween costumes at the store, like a lot of us do, and started making my own and fell in love and started coming to conventions and have loved it ever since. And I also run a blog called Cosplay Cents. I do weekly posts about sales that are going on, as well as some tutorials, tips and tricks, things like that. That is my address right there. I also have cards up here, or I'll have a slide event as well. And here's just a few of the cosplays that I've done. You can see the Lux that I'm wearing today. Last year at Denver Comic Con, I entered my Lady Sith costume. Got a judge's award for that one. And then I also have Batgirl that I've been wearing for years. And then I'm a doll at the meeting tomorrow night. So if any of you are interested in coming and checking that out. So I'm going to go over just some 101, some basics on cosplaying on a budget. Planning out your cosplay is a huge thing. You really want to go step by step before you start anything on your cosplay. Noting all the different parts of the cosplay, if you have to buy shoes for this, if you're going to buy makeup for it, just going through it step by step, print out a picture, and right next to it, I need to buy a blonde wig for this, I need to buy black boots, whatever it is. Sorry, wig hairs are really bad at getting room costs, so if I do this, it's fine. Buy everything on sale, absolutely everything. Do not buy anything full price. Sometimes it seems like a pain to get a coupon for just one item, especially if it's something small. If it's a $2 item, it's tempting not to, but it really adds up over the course of the costume. Grabbing coupons and deals. So when you go to Joann's, Michael's, Hobby Lobby, all of those places print out coupons pretty much weekly, if not more often, and just really hunting for those deals and knowing what a good price is. So that goes in with know your stuff. You can't be expected to just walk into a store and buy something if you don't necessarily know what a good price is. So it takes some research, it takes some legwork to know whether you're getting a really good deal on something or not. And then waste not, want not. I have a couple bins full of stuff of leftover foam that I had from one costume, or leftover velvet. And I usually end up using these things in another costume. Even if you think it's a small amount of fabric or a small amount of foam, you can use it as trim on another costume and not end up having to spend a couple more bucks buying another round of supplies. Choosing your budget cosplay is huge into how much you're going to end up paying for it in the end. Know the purpose of your costume. If you're using it for a competition, you might have a different budget level than something like a truly budget. You're just wearing this for one convention, it's for a kid who's going to outgrow it. The two of those are going to have different levels of budgetness, if that makes sense. One might be, you might just buy the cheapest fabric and less will find, whereas if you're competing, you might still get it on sale, but you're buying a little nicer fabric. And choosing one amazing cosplay versus lots of different cosplays to lots of different conventions. Some people choose to spend a couple $100s and buy one awesome suit of armor or one amazing dress, and that could be actually a better budget option in the long run than doing a $30 cosplay every day of the con, or even a new one every convention that you go to. And then choose wisely, knowing the cost of your materials. There are just some things that are inherently going to cost more. My Queen Amidala costume was only ever going to be so cheap. There's just so much fabric, so many beads. So knowing these things when you go into it, making decisions, do I want to do something like, that's this lovely Scarlet Witch over here, it's probably going to be a lot less expensive because you can buy a lot of the items, or you might even have them in your closet, versus creating something completely from scratch. A cosplay capsule wardrobe. So a capsule wardrobe is a fashion concept where you have items in your wardrobe that you can use to make multiple outfits. Same thing goes for cosplay. You can get plain black and brown boots, so whether black or high heeled. Generic wigs, especially for women, a shoulder length blonde or any normal hair color type of wig can be used for a lot of different people. Plain black cat suits, things like that. So just from these items, you could easily do, just by changing out some of the accessories like Catwoman, you could do Black Widow, and you're just reusing some of these items over the course. So a $20 pair of boots suddenly becomes not so expensive because you're not buying a new set for every single cosplay you do. Sometimes it's cheaper to actually buy and alter an item versus starting it from scratch. So an example of this is my friend went as Captain Obvious. It's for a Lions event. And I did create the jacket completely from scratch. It ended up costing quite a bit because of the costume materials. The shorts, if I had created them completely from scratch, would have also been pretty pricey. He bought a pair of $3 dress pants from Goodwill. I cut them off to make them into shorts, added some trim, and I think his total cost on those was about $8. And then sometimes the hassle just isn't worth the extra money that you would be saving. So a good example of this is, excuse me, let me grab a drink of water. A petticoat. You can find them for $10 to $15 at Goodwill. And it's a pain, you're going to spend at least that much on the materials, and it's a pain to sew from scratch. So just knowing some of these things in advance, sometimes it is worth a couple extra dollars to not have to give up a weekend to sew an item. So do some general tips and tricks. Always, always, always use a coupon or buy it on sale. For example, with Queen Amidala, I bought so much elastic thread. And it's, $2.50 for a spool of thread. But I needed 10 or 12 of them. And so saving $1 on that every time I went, I ended up saving $10 or $12 over the whole course of the costume. Thinking outside the box. Can you use something that you already have on hand? There's been lots of times. This one, for example, I was going to go out and buy a PVC pipe for this. I went through my closet and realized I had a roll of wrapping paper that had an extra sturdy, tube in there. And I used that, so I ended up saving a couple bucks because it was absolutely free for me. Can you use something in an unexpected way? This is where your creativity as cosplayers comes in really handy. Just looking at something and saying, oh, I can do this with this item. These are plastic cheap Christmas ornaments, $1. It would have cost me at least $20 to do them in resin. So just kind of looking at something and saying, hey, I can use that as a base to create this item, and it may not cost me very much. Always thinking about, is there a way to do this cheaper? You may not always choose to do the cheaper option, especially if you're competing. Sometimes it's better to go with a little bit nicer item. But it's a good exercise, it's a good brain exercise to look at something and say, okay, so this is only costing me $5, can I do it for $3 instead? And then shopping outside the fabric and craft store. Sometimes you get caught up in just making one easy trip to Joann's, and there's a lot of different places, the dollar store, hardware store, things like that, great places to find things, again, unexpected items, and they can often be less expensive too. And then like Tim said, make it work. So again, just that always looking at something unexpectedly and saying, okay, this may not be my best option, this may not be my ideal option, but at the end of the day, this is my most expensive option. The money that I have budgeted for this costume, I'm just going to make it work. Joining email and text lists for any of the craft stores, especially ones that you shop at regularly. They send out, I get a text from Joann's at least twice a week, and sometimes it's sales. I mean, I run a blog and I post these things, and sometimes these sales I had no clue were going to happen. So it's a great way to just stay on top of something, especially if it's an unexpected sale. They're doing something, 60% off instead of their normal 30%. So stocking the clearance, you never know what you're going to find in clearance, and it can come and go quickly. I mean, retail employees stock the clearance, but you can't find these items if you're not there. Again, just knowing what a good price on clearance is too. Sometimes the clearance item isn't that much less expensive than you would have gotten it with a coupon. But you can't know these things unless you're there physically looking at the items and building that level of knowledge. Shopping online is another great way that you can buy yards of fabric on eBay or Amazon sometimes really great prices. Just be aware of the shipping costs. Often, eBay is notorious for this. You know, the $1.99 item with $5.99 shipping doesn't end up being that great of a deal. Starting early, you can't give yourself time to look for the deals. If you're starting a week in advance, you just have to buy the materials then, you're just stuck. So if you start a couple months in advance, you have time to wait for something to go on sale, and maybe not even just on sale, but go on a really good sale. I usually think, I like to at least start looking around Black Friday because it's a great time to get awesome deals. And even if I don't start actually making the costume for another couple months, I at least have an idea in mind and I can take advantage of those really good Black Friday prices. Having a cosplay swap, if there's something you don't wear anymore, it doesn't fit you anymore, your kids, you know, they grew out of it, whatever it is, meet up with a group of friends. You can find people on Facebook, you can find them on Craigslist. Please be careful with Craigslist. Please make sure it's somebody you trust. But, you know, even if it's just you and your friends, hey, can I borrow your red wig for this cosplay, and I'll let you borrow my black boots, or whatever it is. Sometimes it's fun to allow fate to decide your cosplay. So having a general idea, this is something I might like to do, and go look and see what is on super clearance. You might find something in the clearance bin for $1 a yard, and you have an idea, oh, that would make a really great Elsa dress or something. So that can be a fun way to choose a budget cosplay. Just be aware. Sometimes it's easy to let fate, you know, you get something on a really good deal, and then the rest of the costume ends up costing you in the long run. But it's kind of fun to go that way. How to stick to a budget. The cost of your materials is going to be, and set a reasonable price, a reasonable goal that you can have. You know, even if you think it might cost you $50, you might say, I would like, my goal is to get it for $40. That gives you something to work towards. Track every single one of your expenses. It's so easy to go to Joann's and walk out of there having spent $50 and not knowing where all that money went. So make sure you track everything. If you buy a new set of needles for your sewing machine, anything like that, keep track of everything. It will help you stick to that budget. Don't forget to plan for your big ticket items. So your things like new tools, supplies, those really big cost items. Even though you'll get used from them for more than one cosplay, they are a part of this budget that you're setting right now. So don't spend that money if you don't have it. But also don't forget to plan for the small items. Again, like I said, it's so easy to lose track of. I bought some new pins. I bought a $1.99 spool of thread. And 10 items later, you spent $15 on random nonsense. So. Some good places to shop are craft stores. Learning the sales cycles. I have learned over the years that, especially Hobby Lobby, they tend to go on a cycle. Every 3 weeks, these items are going to be on sale. Knowing what kind of items go on sale around certain holidays. And usually there's some really good coupons like this weekend with Memorial Day. They have some awesome coupons. Pretty much all of the craft stores. Home improvement stores are awesome. They often have items in bigger quantities, bigger sizes, and they're not marked up as craft items. A good example of this is I know a lot of people use zip ties as clothing. Maybe not in a really tight corset, but in a dress or even a corset that you want to be a little looser. And you can get those for $5 for a pack at the home improvement store versus $3 a yard for nice professional boning. Or more. The dollar store. Don't underestimate what you can find there. I have found some squirt guns. I have found hula hoops. I have found, sandpaper, wires, like floral wire, all sorts of stuff at really good prices. So don't forget to check there, especially when you're first starting and you're starting to gather up your supplies. See what you can find there. Walmart is another kind of odd, off-the-wall sort of place, but a lot of them do have, they're starting to kind of phase them out, but a lot of them still do have that fabric craft section, and I've gotten some really great deals, especially the clearance fabric. I have bought, $1 a yard fabric for nice satin, so it's a great place to check. Their selection may not be the best, but again, it's just somewhere that you want to make part of your normal shopping trip. Thrift shops. Either buy whole items there, or you can think outside the box, using old shoes that yours just so beat up, you're going to cover and paint and whatever for cosplay anyway. Great place to find it for $2. I've seen people use belts as leather. So instead of buying a nice new leather from the craft store, they take a belt and they make a strap or a wristband or whatever it is out of the belt leather, again, for a couple bucks. Again, online, don't forget to add shipping and give yourself extra time. If it's coming from somewhere like China, it might take a month to get here. So just be aware of those kind of things, but you can find all sorts of awesome deals if you just Google cheap wig or whatever. You will find it online, just kind of be aware of a few, drawbacks to shopping online. And then Halloween and costume stores, if you can shop the day after Thanksgiving or the day after Halloween, or even a couple days after, if there's still stuff in the store, you can get it for 70% off. You can get, a wig for $5. So it's just another place to shop and kind of have an open mind while you're there. Some other resources, just the internet in general. Google it. Chances are somebody's done it before and somebody's done it cheaply before. So just use the internet as much as you possibly can. There's a few websites that I have here. And these slides will be up on my website this afternoon. So if you need to come back, if you didn't get these right now or take a picture or whatever. But these are some of the sites that I go to that they have a broad spectrum of ideas. And then just ask another cosplayer too. If you see somebody, you like their costume, you want to cosplay that in the future, ask them how they did it. And it may not be the cheapest option, but at least you know. So any questions? The question is how to do armor. The cheapest way to do it is EVA foam, which is a craft foam that they have in the store. You can even find kind of thicker stuff. They're flooring tiles or garage tiles at the home improvement store. The problem with that is sometimes it doesn't last very long, so that's where it goes back to making a decision. I'm just going to cosplay as this once, so foam is fine. I've seen people make full body armor for $50 for Halo armor. But it's not going to last for convention after convention after convention. That's for something like Warbla or even fiberglass. It's going to be a lot more expensive, but it may last longer. So just making that decision. Yeah.
What about how do you get around living square feet?
How to get around having sore feet? Suck it up and deal with it. We were just talking about this earlier. I'm going to have a headache from this wig by the end of the day. You can get cheap inserts. You can get them at the dollar store. So putting the insoles in your shoes can help a lot. Buying a pair of shoes that's comfortable in the first place and then building it to look the way you want. And sometimes you just have to make sacrifices too. It may be accurate to do a really skinny heel for something, but that's going to kill your feet. You might do a little fatter heel. But, just your feet are going to kill you by the end of the day, even if you're wearing flat boots. So.
Break them in beforehand if possible. Yeah.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Break them in.
Yeah, breaking them in, yeah. Good idea. Any question here?
Yeah. So I know wigs, if you get decent quality ones, can be really expensive. Is there a way to get cheaper wigs?
Yeah, if you get the Halloween wigs, they're pretty inexpensive. They might be really thin. You could combine two of them. Google a tutorial on how to combine wefts in wigs. And you can make them look pretty decent. I think this would cost like $15. So just shopping for Halloween wigs versus nice Arta wigs, they're really nice brand, but they're super expensive. So, good question over here.
Do you have suggestions on making helmets?
Making helmets, again, probably the EVA foam or even cardboard is a good base, and then adding on the top of it, if you wanted to add something to add the shine. I've seen people use chroming from cars to add like super shine. You could do spray paint, but starting with something kind of inexpensive. If you wanted to do nice, there's people with like the stormtrooper helmets that do them out of fiberglass. Not going to be the cheapest option, but these people wear their cosplays for 10 years, so. Yeah, go ahead.
Do you have any suggestions for body paint? Like how do you apply it without smudging and all that stuff?
So the question is body paint. Don't buy an airbrush unless you're doing it a lot. Airbrushes are super costly. It'll look great. So if you're doing it convention after convention after convention, it might be nice. Get the nice quality stuff. Ben 9 makes some really good body paints. And just Google people's suggestions. You might notice makeup tends to be dependent on your skin type. So somebody with oily skin might have better luck with one brand over another. I've seen people set it with baby powder and hairspray before, or Final Seal by Ben 9, again, not the cheapest option, but I put that on and my makeup will not move until I actually take it off. So, all right? Yeah.
Do you have any recommendations on how to do something like wings?
Doing wings. Starting with old coat hangers as kind of a base of wiring. You might need to buy something bigger depending on how heavy the wings are. You know, a big, huge angel wing versus a tiny little fairy wing is going to be a huge difference. I've seen people do wings out of cheap foam or paper, even to make the feathers versus buying feathers, which can be super expensive. You might also shop online. If you're buying feathers, you can buy them in big bulk bags versus the little tiny bags that you get at the craft store. So, did that answer your question? Okay. Yeah, go
I
ahead.
just have a suggestion. One of my friends found an app called Cosplay Cents that you can like add all your cosplay cents pieces that you need and kind of check them off. And if you're buying it, whether you're making it, kind of.
I've seen that app and it's really good. So the app is called Cos Planner. You can find it on iTunes or in the Google Store, Google Play Store. It tracks all of your expenses. You can have a picture. You can check off things on the list as you go along, so you know how far along you are in your costume. It's a really great app, and I believe it's a free app. So, somebody else had a question over back there? Yeah. Could somebody else yell that at me a little louder? So torn or worn. Use a seam ripper if you're ripping any fabric. You'll get a much more uneven line than you did if you did scissors. You might also buy, they're meant to cut paper, but they make craft scissors that look like tearing or zigzag. If you can get it to cut through the material, depending on your material, that will do really great. If you want it to look worn, paint is really great. Just getting some cheap acrylic paint. I've seen people age things with tea. Like you just get some black tea and you dye your fabric with that, or whatever, paper, anything like that. Those are great ways to wear something. Even just take it outside and put it in the dirt, you know. It depends on how nice your costume is, obviously, but you can break it in a variety of ways. So, more questions? Yeah.
With more cartoony style of characters, what are ways to really make it look cartoony? When you make your costume, what are ways to?
Okay, so making a costume look more like a cartoon. Emily, you want to stand up? This is my cousin Emily. Drawing those little black lines everywhere. And some people do even the little dots, the individual dots. So those are some great ways. Even just going more with solid colors instead of shading, or very simplistic shading where it's a little white highlight and an obvious shadow. Those are ways that can make it look more cartoony versus more realistic. Yeah.
That's one idea for tutorials or ideas.
It spurs an idea. Oh yeah, you know, they may have done it this way, but I bet I could do it this way. So, anybody else in? By contact lenses, circle lenses. Pinky Paradise has some that are actually USDA approved, and I believe they have them in prescription. Always order them in advance and wear them for a little bit, put them in right before the convention. But Pinky Paradise, I know they have one particular, I think it's their Geo lenses. I would do a Google search on that, but that are USDA approved. Otherwise, those are the least expensive ones. You could buy some at the optometrist, but those tend to be a little more expensive. So, yeah.
Do you have a favorite pattern maker as far as base patterns?
Whichever one's on sale. You can often get them on 99 cents. I think McCall's tends to be, in general, they have a lot of good costumes. They're coming out with one by Yaya that's actually a basic cat suit. So they tend to have a pretty good variety, but I mean, if you watch the sales, you can get them for 99 cents, or I've gotten them for $5 to $4 before. So yeah, I just stock up when they're on sale, and then I just go through, and I actually mix and match sometimes. I like to start from that one, I like to top from that one, and use them in that capacity, so. Anybody have any questions? Yeah?
As far as like hair glue or gel or whatever to get your hair to like stick up really long, like for animation.
Okay, so animes stick up hair. Elmer's glue. You're gonna have a pain, you're gonna have a hard time getting that out, but regular hair gel won't do it. You have to use something like Elmer's glue. So. Yeah, tacky fabric glues. Yeah, I have like tons of glue. Just buy all the glues. That's basically my advice to you. Anybody? Yeah, in back. One more time. Weapons. Cardboard or foam to start with. I've seen people cover them in expanding foam and then part them down from there. Insulation foam. We did, my friend went as Katarina to Salt Lake Comic Con, and we did her things out of insulation foam, which is cheap. You can get a big thing of it for like $5 at Home Depot. Carve it out from there, coat it with some gesso. I've seen people start there and then cover it with Worbla if they want. Worbla is a thermoplastic, for those of you that don't know. It's pretty pricey. It's about $50 for a nice big sheet, but it's plastic. It will last you forever. So some people do the base of it in foam and then cover it with just one layer of the Worbla to make it a little more sturdy. So. All right. Well, I think we're done a little early. Let me check the clock. Dang, I'm done a little early. I thought you guys would have more questions. So yeah, if you have any specific questions that you want to come up and ask me, I will put it up on here. My website, my Facebook page, my Twitter, my email address, I have cards up here at the front if you have a specific question or if you think of something. Yeah, just let me know. And yeah, thanks guys, have fun.
Want me to sign in, and it took me straight to their website. It's like, yeah, pricing for one is $80 a day.
Well,